Hello, welcome to another creature tutorial. This is a walkthrough tutorial where I'm going to show you how certain effects are done, certain animations are done. In this tutorial, we're going to go through animating a quadruped character like this Triceratops over here. Now, this tutorial assumes you've already watched the previous tutorials on meshing, rigging, and basic animation. If you haven't, please go back and watch those quick start tutorials before we proceed. However, I'm going to give you a quick overview again, just to remind you what the creature animation pipeline is. First off, we start off with the meshing mode, as you can see, where you import in your single image and creature will automatically create meshes for your individual body part images. Now, of course, you can go in and massage them, remesh them, retessellate them to suit your resolution needs. So here we have the Triceratops model over here with two legs, all joined together with the body, the torso. We have the front leg and the back leg. So these are the three meshes. Let's go into rigging mode. Now here are the mesh regions put together. You can see I've called it front leg, body, and hind leg. Okay. Right, and here is the character rig. You notice that I put the bones in this particular way. I have a root bone over here. This guy, this is the root bone, and then the skeleton starts disconnected from the root bone. There's a reason for this. That's because the root bone is used for root motion. We're going to give this creature sort of a bouncy walking gait later, and you'll see why in a moment why we have that root bone over here. I always start with a root bone somewhere away from the body. For easy root motion. And then from then on, you can see how I've laid out the skeleton. In this way, it goes all the way to the tail. I have bones for the legs. And finally, you notice there's some interesting chain of bones at the top of the Triceratops. So these chain of bones are what I'm going to use for dynamic flesh motion. We're going to put some physics motors on top of these bones later. You'll see in a moment why again. And it's going to give some really nice dynamic behavior to the Triceratops. And if you want to see how the weighting is done, here's how the weight values are spread out over the various bones. Okay? Right, so welcome back to Creature, and we are going to start animating this Triceratops. Now, to start off, there's no animation in this Triceratops right now, and we're going to give it a basic walk cycle. Now, of course, just as a reminder, a quick review for Creature, you do remember that after we finish rigging a creature in Creature, all characters are ready for traditional manual FK animation. That is, you can just go in, click on any limb or bone, and just move it however you want, like this. Step for a couple more frames and shift it like this, and you're good to go. Okay, so if you wanted to do manual animation, you're set. You're basically good to go. Today, however, we're going to actually use the powerful procedural motor system in Creature to make the walk cycle. And you're going to see why in a moment. It's going to save us a lot of time, and it's going to demonstrate quite a few features of the creature system, and it's going to show you how some certain effects are done. So, to start off, let's start animating the legs. Control click on the hind leg bones, okay? Click Install Motor, and let's select Smooth IK Rotate Motor. This is the motor that's going to allows to automate a walk cycle. If we play it now, you're going to see a couple things wrong with it already. Okay, first of all, the direction is wrong. It's supposed to go in that direction, and the gate and the arc is all wrong, right? So we're going to fix it. So first off, let's fix the direction. Let's set right now the speed is set to 2, but the character is facing left, so let's set it to something negative, like -3. Okay, we play it now. Okay, that looks more like what the leg should be going at. And then we're going to tweak the arc itself, so we can actually up the let's try setting the width to say 2.5. Okay, let's see what we get. Okay, that's right, more like it. Let's up the scale top to say 1.3. See what we get. Okay, we can move the leg a bit to the back. See what we get. Right. And if you wanted more of a scaling to the top, we can increase it a bit more. So let's try 1.5 and see what we get. Okay, right. So maybe the right scaling was a bit too much. So we can decrease that a bit to say 0.8. So we can actually tweak this arc really easily with all these properties, the scale bottom, scale left, scale right, scale top parameters. So have fun with that to get the correct arc that you want the leg to move at. Okay? We also probably want it to move a bit more to the left, so let's up the scale left. Okay. Cool. Now let's do the front leg. Same deal. Control click on the two bones you care about and select Smooth IK Rotate Motor. Okay. And now you notice that actually even more things are wrong with it. First of all, the direction is wrong. Secondly, the bending angles of the bones are also wrong. Okay. So how do we fix it? Go to Valid IK Angles. Right now it's set to positive. Click on that. Set this to negative. So this is actually what we want, right? This is exactly how the front leg of a quadruped should bend. And same deal as before. Let's set the speed to -3, so it goes in the correct direction, right? And okay, so the other thing that's wrong with this right now is the hind leg and the front leg are in sync, right? But that's wrong because during a walk cycle, the front leg of this quadruped should be out of sync with the hind leg. So how do we fix that? Very easy. Go to the phase parameter over here, okay? And let's set it to another value. Typically, a value of 1 works pretty well. There. So now the two legs are moving out of sync or out of phase. That's what we expect. And now we can go in and set the width values as usual, and maybe up the scale top to say 1.2. Let's see what we get. I'm just tweaking parameters as we speak now. It's very easy to tweak it with a system like this. Okay, I might need a bit of more of a scale top, I guess. So let's raise it up a bit. Okay, maybe push it a bit to the back. Yeah, so you can get, depending on what you're going for, you can easily tweak these values, as you can see. Okay, so we have the front layer legs done. Let's do the back legs. Same thing. Let's control click, select the two bones, Smooth IK Rotate Motor, flip the IK angles. Okay, set the speed to -3, and set the width to say 2, and let's up the scale top to 1.5, something like that. Let's see what happens. Okay, we can probably move it back just a bit. I think this guy needs to go right a bit. So let's increase the scale right. 3. Maybe just a bit more. Okay, cool. Now let's do the lower layer hind legs, same deal. Install the Smooth IK Rotate Motor, flip, or rather set the speed to -3. -3 is good. And we set the width to 2, and let's up the scale top to 1.6. Just try a couple of values to see what we get. Okay, and leg has to be is out of sync, right? So again, phase set to 1. Okay, so a basic leg motion, a basic walk cycle, almost there. You probably want to set the scale right to be a bit more because you want more of a push off, maybe. Yep, and we wanted to lift off a bit more, so let's up the scale top just a bit and see what we get. And let's see this. Okay, so a slow walk. That's what's going on here. We can obviously tweak more to perfect this walk cycle. You can see where this is going already, right? But we're basically there, and this basically gives you an idea how you can proceed with your motion. Okay, so this is a slow, relaxing walk for the dinosaur. We can probably want to increase the scale top, I guess. Okay. All right, so we have a basic quadruped walking. Let's do the dynamics now. So remember we talked about a root bone, or rather I talked about a root bone. Here's the root bone. We're going to actually give this dinosaur a bouncy gait. And to do that, click on the root bone, or the first bone, bone 0, over here. Click Install Motor. And now this time, click Move Bounce Motor. So this says oscillates bones in X and Y directions. Now, to start off, if you actually play it, it's ridiculous, right? So we're going to tweak it. Now, obviously, it's oscillating a bit too much in the X direction. So let's tone it down to say 0.2, and in a Y direction, let's tone it down to 0.2 as well. The other thing that was kind of weird was it was oscillating a bit too quickly. So let's change the speed of the speed X and speed Y oscillations. And I typically I set lower values, of course. For speed Y, we can probably set it to something higher. We can try like 6. We're just tweaking value at this point. See what we get. And cool. So now you have actually a nice bouncy gait. We can obviously increase the amplitude a bit more so that it bounces a bit more, right? And maybe even more than that. See 0.45. See what happens. Okay, so now the dinosaur is actually really bouncing up and down. And you can see how the legs actually respond to the bounciness and all that. That's kind of cool. It's all due to the move bounce motor. Okay, so that's done. The next thing we're going to do is to make the tail flop. Very easy. Select, control click on the last 3 bones of the tail, install motor. Let's pick band physics motor. Okay, and from stability I pick motion because I want motion. There you go. The tail is flopping. Maybe a bit too much. How do we fix that? Very easy. First of all, you want it to damp a bit more. That is, you want the tail to bleed a bit more energy as it's moving, so it doesn't actually flop that much. So I can up it to say 20, well, not 29, maybe 20. Let's try 20 first. There. So now it's actually flopping less. You notice that. The second thing we can do is to actually up the material stiffness. This will also result, obviously it does what it does. It results in a stiffer material. So if I do 80, or maybe say 120, there. Now it's actually flopping less. So you can tweak these parameters based on your own liking to get the kind of floppiness or the kind of material you're actually going for. So, well, it looks pretty cool, huh? So we have a quadruped already walking with a nice bouncy gait and a flopping tail. Obviously, there's even more stuff we can do to it. Now, the head is actually not moving, and we would like to make the head maybe wobble just a bit, just a tiny bit. And how do we do that? Well, we can try a couple strategies. The first thing we can do is probably install a band physics motor. Same trick we did before, and click motion. Let's see what we get. Okay, that's quite a bit of motion, huh? Well, let's up the damping, okay, and let's up the stiffness to say 200. Let's see what we get. Ah, there you go. Much more controllable now, right? So with just a simple move bounce motor, a simple band physics motor on the tip of the 2 bones of the head, we have achieved a sort of a natural bouncy head motion with minimal effort, and that's great. Now you can obviously go in and tweak more of this, but this is a demonstration of what you can do, so we're going to move on. So now, finally, we're going to take a look at these guys over here. Remember these chain of bones I put in before? What was that for? That's actually for the flush behavior. So we're going to actually do the same trick. Again, we're going to add band physics onto them, set them to motion. Same deal here. Band physics, and set them to motion, and let's play it. Okay, so you see the flesh is wobbling quite a bit now, because there's bend physics on it and they're driven by the rest of the body. That's a bit too much for us. So let's, again, tone it down with the damping. Let's up it to, say, 20. Let's see what we get. Okay, a bit more controllable, but still a bit too much. So I think we need to up the stiffness. Let's do the same thing for the chain of bones in the back. Let's see how we get now. There. So now it's a lot more controllable, and you get this nice dynamic flesh behavior that's wobbling with the dinosaur, right? Seems like a large creature, very like a living, breathing creature with dynamic motion. I probably want to tweak this just a bit more. I still think it's wobbling just a bit too much. So 30, right? And probably even more stiffness, 150. There. Okay, so there you have it. We have a walking Triceratops with a nice dynamic flesh motion going on and a bouncy gait, all done with Creature. Happy animating. Thanks for watching.